has made Sean Combs a little bit nervous.
To me on that when you say, yeah, he looked like the gay homie, I didn't know what you were talking about.
If you no, I wouldn't go to. Do you think this might be too early?
Much detail he could go into about his testimony. And because the 8 people in the videos, the 8 celebrities in the videos were allegedly victims of sex crimes, we know who they are.
Apologized, saying, "Sorry, Your Honor, I'm a little nervous today."
8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women. How many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
We're jumping headfirst into this this insane courtroom drama that, like, nobody saw coming.
Owen.
Forget whatever you were doing, because this is celebrity news, but, like, turned up way past 11.
Yeah, what started as, you know, a pretty standard serious day in court just took a wild turn. Completely unbelievable.
Well, audio we were not expecting.
Definitely not. And the ripple effect. Already huge. Massive through the whole entertainment world.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Diddy walks in, right? And get this. Reports say he looked genuinely nervous.
Oh, interesting.
Like, actually apologized to the court. Said he was a bit off his game or something. But then he tries to, you know, pull it together. Formal suit, trying to project that I'm calm, I'm in control kind of vibe.
Right, the cool exterior.
But you could just feel the tension. Apparently it was thick in there. Everyone knew something big was about to happen.
Well, that initial attempt at composure, it's pretty common, isn't it? In those high pressure spots.
Sure, trying to project control, manage the anxiety maybe. But, well, keeping that facade up, it gets tough. Really tough under that kind of pressure.
And boy, did it crack. Because then, bam, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They play this audio from 50 Cent's upcoming Netflix documentary.
Oh, that documentary. The one people were already buzzing about.
Exactly. And the second that audio starts playing, total silence in the courtroom.
I can imagine.
People drop their phones, like actually drop them. Every single eye just locked forward, dead silent.
Wow.
And Diddy, his whole demeanor just flipped instantly. That carefully built image, the untouchable thing, gone.
Just like that.
You could apparently just see the shock. The tension was like radiating off him. The guy who walked in looking composed suddenly looked cornered, trapped.
That element of surprise was absolutely crucial there.
You think?
Oh yeah, 50 Cent dropping that audio right at that moment.
Yeah.
Clearly designed to throw Diddy off completely.
Yeah.
Disrupt whatever appearance he'd prepared.
Calculate.
Okay, so this audio, what was actually on it? Apparently it caught Diddy in what sounded like a casual chat. Playful, they said.
Playful.
But like too playful, way too playful. We hear him talking about wanting to go shopping with another guy.
Okay.
Offering to pay for everything. Suggesting they should kick it alone. Just the two of them. Now look, maybe those words on their own in some other context, maybe they mean nothing, right?
Possibly.
But you throw them into this mix, with all the allegations swirling around, they suddenly sound very different. Potentially really, really incriminating.
The context is everything here. Absolutely critical. Words that seem harmless 1 minute can become incredibly significant when you put them next to serious accusations like these.
Right.
And that playful tone they described, combined with those specific suggestions, well, it definitely adds fuel to the fire, doesn't it? It feeds right into the existing concerns.
And wait, there's more. There's apparently this really bizarre line about playing with your booty in Miami.
Seriously, that was on the tape.
That's what's being reported. Apparently, everyone in the courtroom just did a double take. Like, what?
Wow. Okay.
These aren't just, like, awkward comments. They paint a picture, don't they? A pattern, maybe. Stuff that's been whispered about for ages, suddenly right out there in the open.
And these, you know, seemingly strange details, they can really contribute to building a narrative. One that aligns with those existing allegations about inappropriate behavior, maybe a disregard for boundaries. The prosecution could definitely try to use remarks like that to build their bigger case.
And Diddy's reaction when he heard this? Explosive. Doesn't even begin to cover it.
He reacted right there.
Oh yeah. Jumped out of his seat, apparently.
Yeah.
Yelling across the courtroom.
No way.
Pointing his finger, voice shaking, trying to shut it down.
Yeah.
Screaming about how it's all twisted, it's out of context, 50 Cent's just trying to humiliate him.
In front of the judge?
In front of everyone. The judge is banging the gavel, trying to get order, total chaos. His lawyers are apparently scrambling, trying to get him to sit down. Calm down. But that cool, collected image he walked in with, completely shattered. Gone.
You know, that kind of outburst in court, it's pretty revealing.
How so?
Well, a more measured response is usually what lawyers advise, right?
Yeah.
An emotional reaction like that, it can be read in a few ways. Maybe distress, maybe even like an acknowledgement that the audio is a problem for him.
Right.
It definitely undermines any attempt he was making to look like he was in control.
Now, let's just quickly remember the backdrop here, because this isn't just about awkward audio.
Not at all.
Diddy's facing incredibly serious charges. We're talking racketeering, that's like a pattern of criminal stuff, extortion, sex trafficking, and transporting people across state lines for, well, illicit purposes, often tied to the trafficking charge.
Extremely serious federal charges.
And this is the really disturbing part, too, of the 8 alleged celebrity victims mentioned in relation to all this. They're claimed to have been close to him, or potentially even underage.
And that adds a whole other layer of gravity. These are profoundly serious allegations, carrying huge potential legal consequences. Racketeering, sex trafficking. The penalties are severe, and minors potentially involved. That just intensifies everything.
Which brings us back to 50 Cent, because this move, with the documentary and the audio, it looks incredibly calculated now, doesn't it?
The timing seems deliberate.
Yeah, this wasn't just some random project dropping. It lands right when Diddy's under this massive legal spotlight.
Yeah.
It feels like a strategic play, designed to expose a side of Diddy maybe people haven't seen, going way beyond their usual, celebrity beef.
Right. This isn't just diss tracks anymore.
No. The aim seems to be like bringing all those rumors, those industry secrets, those alleged protected circles out into the light.
It certainly looks like a strategic release. 50 Cent has a long history of using media, to his advantage.
Sure.
And here, it seems like he's using his platform, this documentary, to really amplify the allegations against Diddy. Maybe trying to sway public opinion, maybe even influence the legal side of things. Who knows?
And that audio, people are calling it a game changer. A bomb dropped right in the middle of the case.
It certainly sounds impactful.
It feels like it flipped the whole dynamic. Yeah, suddenly the prosecution doesn't just have allegations or rumors. They have Diddy's own words.
Direct evidence.
Exactly. His own voice potentially being used against him.
Right.
It just completely undermines his whole defense strategy of denying everything.
It makes denial much harder.
Yes. And it exposed this, this casual disregard for boundaries maybe. This potentially toxic behavior pattern that seems to line up with what people have been accusing him of.
Indeed. Direct audio evidence like that can be incredibly powerful in court. It takes away some of the he said, she said. It offers a direct record, his words, his tone. And in this situation, the audio appears to back up some of the broader accusations against him. That makes his legal fight a lot harder, considerably more challenging.
So the courtroom after this played, you could hear a pin drop apparently. Just total shock.
Stunned silence.
And then boom, the media just exploded. Headlines everywhere, instantly. That audio was the story front and center.
Global news in seconds.
Legal experts, commentators, everyone dissecting every single syllable. Diddy's not just fighting this in court anymore, is he?
No, he's absolutely on trial in the court of public opinion now, too.
And that jury seems like it's already making up its mind.
Well, the instantaneous nature of media today means a moment like that gets analyzed and replayed constantly. It heavily shapes public perception, adds enormous pressure onto the legal case itself.
And the reactions from people all over the place. You've got some fans, diehards, sticking by him, saying it's a setup, it's all lies, refusing to believe it. But then you have this huge wave of people feeling completely betrayed.
Understandable.
Like years of whispers suddenly feel real,
Yeah.
And the disappointment is just huge.
Yeah.
And what about other artists? They seem to be walking on eggshells.
Very cautious, I imagine.
Totally.
Yeah.
Some are distancing themselves so fast it's like whiplash. Others are putting out these super vague, wishy-washy statements of support, or not support, you can't even tell.
Non-committal.
Exactly. And the silence from some of the really big names in the industry, that speaks volumes too, doesn't it?
It often does. In situations like this, public figures, especially in the industry, have to weigh the potential fallout very carefully. Professional, personal consequences.
Right.
So the cautious responses, the silences, it likely shows they recognize how serious these allegations are, and maybe a desire not to get tangled up in the controversy themselves.
And this whole thing, this audio bombshell, it's just the latest chapter, maybe the most explosive one ever in that never-ending feud between Diddy and 50 Cent.
It adds another whole layer, doesn't it? Their history.
Oh, yeah. This has been simmering for, nearly 2 decades?
A very long time.
Diss tracks, messy interviews, social media battles.
Yeah.
These two have been going at it for years. 50 Cent has consistently gone after Diddy's character, his business stuff.
He's been a very vocal critic.
And Diddy, he always played it cool, right? Unbothered, like nothing could touch him.
That was the persona.
Until now. This audio playing in court, that's not just another diss track. That has real-world, potentially devastating legal consequences.
It's a massive escalation.
It feels like 50 Cent just played his ace. This documentary, the audio release, feels like the ultimate strategic move in their long war.
It certainly takes their rivalry into a completely different arena, with potentially far-reaching impacts on Diddy's legal situation.
And the potential legal fallout for Diddy. It's serious. We're talking potential life sentence level serious.
The stakes are incredibly high.
There are minimums being thrown around, like 15 years just for sex trafficking, 10 years for the transportation charges. It really sounds like the U.S. Attorney's Office isn't likely to offer any kind of plea deal Diddy would even think about taking.
Given the severity, yeah.
Not with these kinds of charges and this kind of evidence potentially emerging.
The potential penalties really highlight how grave the alleged crimes are. And with the evidence, or at least the audio evidence we know about, it's reasonable to assume the prosecution will take a very firm stance. Plea deals might be difficult to reach.
And Diddy's team, predictably right, they put out a statement.
Of course.
Saying the audio was, you guessed it, taken out of context, doesn't reflect his true intentions, blah, blah, blah.
The standard response.
But honestly, did anyone buy it?
Yeah.
It just seemed unconvincing. The audio sounds pretty direct from what's being described. Doesn't leave a ton of wiggle room for that kind of spin.
Yeah, when you're faced with someone's actual recorded words, that taken out of context defense, it often struggles. The words themselves, the tone, it carries a lot of weight. It's harder to explain away.
So, wow. There you have it. This deep dive into the, absolute chaos in that courtroom. Diddy, 50 Cent's Bombshell audio. It is about as dramatic as celebrity news gets.
A major turning point, it seems.
Those casual comments, maybe playful, but definitely questionable, caught on tape, they've detonated like a bomb, completely shaken up the legal case, shifted public perception massively.
The impact was immediate and significant.
And this long, long feud between these two giants has now slammed right into these incredibly serious legal allegations. It's created this spectacle, this drama that has the whole world completely captivated.
Everyone's watching how this unfolds.
Absolutely. The consequences for Diddy, legally, his reputation, his future, they're going to be massive, huge, still unfolding.
The ramifications are significant, yes.
It really makes you think, though, doesn't it, about the power of your own words, how easily they can be spun or interpreted, especially when you live your life under that kind of spotlight.
Words matter. Context matters.
What does this whole mess tell us about the images celebrities project, those carefully crafted personas? Definitely something to chew on long after this deep dive is over.